Hey, welcome back everyone to the Low Sodium Ham Radio channel with another review. We had a lot of success with the previous review on the fiberglass mast, so if you haven't seen that yet, we got likes into the 3-digit range, so go ahead and check that out. Okay, so just to clarify, our likes were technically 1 digit, but that digit was 3. So, thanks Mom and Dad. Anyway, right now that we got that out of the way, today's review is on the Yaesu FT-891 HF+6 radio, coupled with the ATAS-120 Alpha automatic screwdriver antenna. I'll show you my setup, how I use it for mobile ops, and what I think of it. Although the wiring here is representative of National Electric Code standards from a third world country that doesn't yet have Wi-Fi, I say don't let good enough get in the way of meh, it works. Now, while we're on the subject of my rat's nest of a wiring job, I highly recommend buying only non-name brand, pre-cut shrink tubing because it's only used for aesthetic purposes anyway. I find that using shrink tube at any point in any ham radio project automatically lets other hams know you're serious, but without the added cost of actually being effective. Here we can see the shrink tubing I applied to this butt connector isn't long enough to do anything other than cover up the unsightly connector. Just remember, it will work as long as it looks like you know what you're doing. And that's not just the ethical core of this channel, but it's also the guiding principle of working satellites, which we'll get to in a future video. You'll also notice here that this Cedar Rapids Airport parking receipt looks like trash, but actually it does serve a purpose. The seemingly innocuous accessory serves as notice to other hams that I not only talk to other stations, I sometimes go places too. It's a radio flex. So moving forward with the electrical install, you can see I've carefully routed the DC power and coax cable through the A pillar of my Ford F-150. You can tell it's designed for this application because the wires fit. All right, and the rest of the DC power is pretty straightforward. You'll notice ample use of unnecessary shrink wrap, and again, not long enough to actually do anything. It's just for aesthetic purposes. We've got everything very neatly routed up into the battery. Now, there's some debate as to whether you should route directly to the negative terminal on the battery, or if the chassis ground on the vehicle is adequate for powering a radio. If you want a straightforward answer to that, I suggest Reddit. All right, and then finally I have the antenna hooked up to Super Gainer K400 diamond mount. Now let's take a look at the antenna. This is the Yaesu ATAS-120A, or as I like to call it, the conversation starter. This is especially effective when you work in construction and drive around job sites all day. The inspired conversations from well-informed craft professionals abound. ATAS stands for Automatic Tuning Antenna System, and Yaesu has been manufacturing these since as far back as 2002 with the original Model 120. This antenna interfaces with many of Yaesu's current and out of production radios by sending a signal through the coax cable to automatically raise and lower the antenna until a suitable SWR is achieved. As a bonus, this feature often further intrigues the keen-eyed passerby. If you have a good bond to your vehicle's ground, this baby will tune up 6 meters to 40 meters no problem, and it works seamlessly with the FT-891, especially on POTA activations or whenever you're feeling adventurous, but not so much so that you want to get out of your truck. That covers the antenna. Let's take a look at the radio. The FT-891 is a 100-watt, relatively small form factor, all-mode HF plus 6-meter radio that can be operated as a single unit or with the faceplate detached. When connected, the whole unit is actually smaller than my Yaesu FTM 500D VHF-UHF radio, which I plan to do a video on in the future. I'm told this is also a great radio for soda, but let's be real here, the only soda I'm interested in is mixed with James Daniel's Magical Elixir No. 7 because it cures what ails you. You can see here that I chose to go with the convenience of the separated faceplate while still maintaining that ham sexy chic that those in the know expect of a truly brilliant operator. It also lets the ladies know that you fear commitment and that it's probably best to just keep your earbuds in and pretend she didn't notice you waving. Moving on, however you choose to set this gem up, you will not be disappointed in its performance. Though it comes in a perfectly average size for its height, that's totally normal, the DSP packed into this bad boy is impressive. You have the option of selecting among 15 different levels of DSP algorithms, which I've found to work incredibly well when managing POTA pileups. When coupled with the noise blanker, auto notch filter, and selectable bandwidths, you have tons of tools available to you to filter out our more hypertensive brethren above and below your POTA frequency that you've been using for the last 3 hours. But no, it's fine. I'll move for your net because I'm a low sodium ham baby. The interface of the radio is mostly intuitive. Across the top of the radio, you have your quick memory bank button, your memory to VFO button, your VFO to memory button, your VFO/memory toggle, your VFO A/B toggle, your band button, which also couples as your mode button, your fast button for VFO scrolling, and then your power button, which also doubles as the lock button for your controls. As far as your dials go, you have your concentric squelch and volume dial, your multi-select rotator/push button. You have your VFO dial, which also, if you can see there, has a friction knob, a friction slider on the bottom. On the bottom, you have your function key, your ABC function keys, and your clarifier. Now, what's nice about this radio, and what I also don't like about this radio, is this right here. So because the form factor of this radio is such a small unit, you have the option to select 3 of your top used tools to assign them to each of these buttons. Once you do that, then the multifunction dial becomes associated with that feature. Now, one of the challenges with this radio is that it's so menu driven. Everything in there is so menu driven. What I wind up doing is assigning my top 3 tools here and then forgetting about everything else the radio can offer, like some kind of caveman. Yaesu's website lists the FT-891 as having triple conversion with a first intermediary frequency of 69.450 MHz and a TCXO, which provides plus minus 0.5 ppm high frequency stability in minus 10 degrees Celsius to plus 50 degrees Celsius. I don't know what any of that means. All in all, the FT-891 and ATAS-120 Alpha combo makes for a formidable mobile operation setup that compromises in some areas, but definitely gets you on the air anytime, anywhere with ease. That's what I know. This is Alpha Echo 2, the money symbol, 1337 saying 73. Thanks for watching. Take care.